Good? We're game?
Yeah, I'm gonna do an intro flight today. I'm literally gonna shit myself.
Okay.
So a couple months ago, we went to Torrance to the official Robinson helicopter safety course. We made a little bit of a video about that here. The video was getting a bit long, and so I decided to cut this section out of it because it was my first time actually flying a helicopter and doing a legit intro flight. So thanks so much to Robinson for letting me sit in and audit the course. Technically, I wasn't part of the course, but it was actually a huge game changer for me. And I was lucky enough to do my first intro flight with Bob Muse.
I am the flight safety director at Robinson. We really try to promote safety. You know, flying can be just such an incredible experience and it can be safely done. But you have to, you know, always make sure that you're flying the aircraft within its limits and follow just certain basic guidelines.
He offered to take me up on my first intro flight. He trained Frank Robinson's children, the man who started Robinson Helicopter itself. So I couldn't say no to that. I'm needing my emotional support. I'm doing my first intro flight with the legend.
The legend.
In my mind, yes, it should be fun. So the only thing I have to do is I have to go over with you the SFAR for manipulating the controls. Pretty simple because you set through the whole course, so I'm going to give you an endorsement and go out and do it.
Okay.
We're not going to do anything crazy. It's all about having a good time and being safe. We talked about positive handoff of the controls. We'll go over and do a pre-flight right now. And we'll just make sure we have really good communication and really practice flight safety.
I love safety.
I take a look at the ship.
Okay. This part of this experience was really interesting because I have seen Chris do his pre-flight hundreds of times and I kind of had the gist of what he was doing, but Bob gave me a really in-depth rundown of what to be looking for. Now the pre-flight is there to make sure that everything is in working order, that there's nothing wrong with the ship before we start flying. We call it a DI or a daily inspection, and it's just looking at all of the really important parts that keep the ship flying to make sure that everything looks good before we take off.
Helicopter 4 Romeo 2, roger, we're clear to depart eastbound.
So typically our videos are more the essence of flying versus the long drawn out radio chatter where we show more of the flights. We kind of like to cut it down to be more entertaining versus showing the whole thing. But I wanted to keep this video a little bit more uncut so you could kind of get the idea of what an intro flight was like if you were interested in learning how to fly helicopters and you wanted to do a discovery flight, which you can do at any flight school. But I also wanted you to see how it went for me so you could have a better understanding of why I am not getting my pilot's license. I'm mind fucked right now. It went in like 3 different stages. That's how I'm like remembering it. 1, extreme fear and panic because I haven't been in a helicopter in a year. First time ever running through the startup checklist and like pressing the buttons and turning the key and rolling the throttle on and rolling the RPMs up and like that kind of stuff, which was really weird.
When it gets to 80%, you're going to feel the governor take away. Keep going, and the governor will bring it up to 100. There we go.
Oh shit.
So
and so then that's just it. Oh my god, I hate that.
That's the governor.
Okay, that's scary.
At first it is a little scary because you're like, whoa, but it works fine, but our hand is on the throttle to override it in case something goes wrong.
Felt really scary. Everything was scary. I was like, oh my god, what if I accidentally pull up on the collective and like we have a dynamic rollover? Like, we took off and I was just like, oh my god. And
you have the cyclic and your hands on the collective, right?
Oh my god.
Okay, come on, add just a little bit of carb heat.
Jesus Christ.
Not real worried about
And
the
already
carb
6 Tango, you're inside of Fling 5 mile final.
You're the pilot, and so it's just real little input. And we're just going to fly out here to the shore.
I thought you did it with.
So since the pandemic, I have become extremely sensitive to noise, and I'm not really sure why. When I have more than one sound that is at the same level and is competing with something I'm trying to pay attention to, I have a very, very difficult time paying attention to what is being said.
My whole body is like tense, and also it's difficult because there's a lot of sounds. There's a lot of sounds happening, and the rotors are really loud too.
We should have switched headsets. You showed her my helmet with the Bose A20.
Yeah.
So when we got in the helicopter, I was wearing a different headset than I normally wear. When we fly, I have a helmet that have Bose A20s in them with noise canceling, so I can barely hear the rotors, and that's kind of what I'm used to. But in this case, my headset did not have noise canceling, so I could hear the rotors really well. It's just not something that I'm used to. It was really difficult for me to hear, and then as soon as that radio came in at the same level,
And see, what you find is, after you fly,
So it was a little bit overwhelming and kind of started the flight a little bit panicky because of that. Anyway, so we went from like fear to like, oh my God, there's a helicopter. Oh my God, there's birds.
Don't worry, honey, we got that new bird deflector windscreen.
We got that new bird deflector windscreen. So you're doing good. So push the nose a little forward and watch how you feel the helicopter nose go down, and you'll see our speed increase, right? Push a little bit more forward.
Oh my God.
And as you feel, now look, see we're going down?
Yeah.
So pull up on the collective just a little. I'm guarding you. I won't let you pull too much. Keep pulling up. And you want to pull to where you get to 0. Now that keeps us straight and level at this new power setting, which gives us a faster speed. And now you'll come to the right along the
I gotta let go for a second.
Not bad.
It's the gust. The gust scared the shit out of me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's a little gust, not too bad, but look how pretty it is. Concentrate on that.
My legs are shaking so
I
bad.
thought it was just the ship. Okay, all right.
Get to the coast, and then it's like I'm doing the straight level thing, and then it was just like, okay, like I'm doing this now. Like the fear has subsided. I'm still death gripping everything. My hands are really sweaty.
Let's say we want to come down. We're about 300 feet. Lower the collective slightly. As you lower the collective, you feel the nose go a little to the right, and you pull up. Yeah, there you go. And you pull up on the cyclic because the nose would drop. And now we're actually descending. Once you get to the height you want, go ahead and pull up the collective again. Push the nose forward, and you zero that out. And so that's how we would climb and descend. Now, I'm going to help you with this, but it's really simple. We're just going to do a left 360-degree turn. So we push left.
Okay.
More left.
Oh my God.
More left. Harder. And then you feel the nose go down, so pull back on the cyclic just a little. We lose some lift when we turn here. Look at that. Birds. You're doing good. You feel the nose coming up, so push the nose down a little.
Look at you go.
Harder left. There you go.
Oh my gosh. Are we doing 360 here?
Yeah, we're going to do a 360 and come all the way around. You're doing good. You come around
over.
Turning, we're doing a little turn this way, and then we're following the coast, and then we're going faster, and then we're going slower, and then we're nosing down, and we're pitching up, and we're ascending and descending. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking flying. This is like so sick.
We want you to be able to fly the helicopter keeping it plus or minus 50 knots. Hold an altitude plus or minus 50 feet or 100 feet.
So if I pulled up on the collective right now, we'd go faster.
We would go, no, we would only climb unless you go forward on the nose too.
I see.
So bring in power,
And
you look at your manifold pressure, see how it's coming up, so you can pull it up to 22 inches.
Okay.
And you would keep pushing the nose over slightly, so you increase your speed. Otherwise, you would just climb.
So we're climbing now, so do you want me to level out?
You could level out by slowly lower the collective, slowly lower collective, and look at this until it goes to 0. Okay. Come out to the right again.
Oh, gee.
There you go. And now come hard left, a little harder left to follow the shoreline. There you go. A little harder. Hold the nose out. There you go. Now remember, Becky, let's say if we were flying, you and Chris are going somewhere, and he says, you know, you get proficient to where you can come on the controls and fly it straight and level. There's nothing dangerous about that if you get the proper training. And so remember, you would never make any really big control inputs. There's no reason to make big control inputs, right? We're going to climb up a little bit here.
Okay, you're on the controls.
I'm on the controls with you. We were going, you know, 100, 110, no problem. The ship is very smooth. You start getting into high winds and turbulence, right? This is why we say we want you to slow down between 60 and 70 knots. Because I'm going to do some control inputs here, okay?
Okay.
Nothing crazy. But at 60 to 70 knots, if somebody hits the cyclic, nothing happens. Right. 60 to 70 knots,
oh my God.
Nothing happens, right? That's why we want you to slow down, all right?
Yeah.
Because if we did that at high-speed flight, that's where theoretically the ship could do that uncommanded right roll.
Yeah.
Whether you get into mass bumping or not would be if the pilot induces it by putting in full left cyclic. If you were in real high winds going through the Banning Pass and you're like, this is scary. Yeah, it's going to be scary, but you just want to try to stay about 60 to 70 knots, and you're really looking at your altitude. Because you're in such bad turbulence, you're not going to be able to hold plus or minus 10 knots. You're not going to be able to hold an altitude plus or minus 100 feet. You just want to look outside and fly at this altitude like you're doing right here.
I don't even know how long it was, but I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. and then it was like a switch went off and I was like, I'm done.
I feel like I'm really close to being
overloaded.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like a little bit like nauseated. Oh, there's a lot of birds right there.
That's okay.
Oh my god, my asshole just puckered up so fast.
From then on, it was just like, I don't remember what happened. It was like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, I'm doing good, till like, I cannot do this anymore.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
That's a lot, man.
Good.
That is a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you would only want to do maybe like a 30-minute flight because you're trying to process so much information. So many things are happening. Anyone who would say that it's within their comfort zone in the beginning is psycho. Okay? Never fly. You don't want to fly with them. Right? Yeah. There should be a level of fear. The activities we do, and I think Chris would agree with this, is fear. We look at it as it's just a higher state of awareness for us. It's because we don't panic, we don't give in to it. It's just elevating our senses that we need to be at a higher state of awareness. You will see some people who they give in to the fear. Sadly, they may have always dreamed of being a pilot, but after you do training with them, you realize right away, and you have to be honest with them. They just don't have, what it takes to be a pilot. I'm not trying to say that's a negative. Yeah. But
I don't think I have what it takes to do this. I have a hard time controlling the fear. I think that my fear of flying is so high that I can't see myself getting past that to the point where I could be like, oh, I feel safe doing this.
But our goal was never to make you a pilot, though.
No, it was just to be able to put it on the ground and live.
There's nothing wrong with that.
A lot of people have opinions about me flying and how I should get my license and I should learn how to fly, and that if I take the controls, I'll be less motion sick. And that's actually not the case. I took the controls, I got motion sick up there anyway. Fear response is, at an all-time high because there's a lot of things I'm afraid of flying. I don't have that passion for aviation like Chris has, and I'm also afraid of heights. I have a lot of things working against me when it comes to actually flying. I really like our helicopter adventures, and especially like our remote trips. I love planning them, I love doing them, but when it comes to the actual flying, if you watch this channel, I'm just not passionate about it the way Chris is. Like, I don't even fly drones, you know what I mean? But I do it because I love my husband so much, and I really love the trips. I have fun doing these expeditions, but I put myself in these situations because I want to try and push myself outside my comfort zone, get past that fear of flying, be there for my husband through his passions and try to be able to enjoy them with him. And that's really important to me because this is something that he is very passionate about. I've never seen him more excited about something in my entire life than helicopters, and I want to be a part of that whether I have a fear or not. With that being said, I do recognize why I should learn how to fly. The driving force for me learning how to fly is just the safety net of being able to get it on the ground safely if something were to happen to him, and not because I want to get my pilot's license, because I don't. And Bob said something really interesting.
I've seen some of these accidents before where I've seen these people and I realized they didn't really have that love, that passion. They were being pushed into it, or they were doing it for the wrong reasons. But I also think that, anybody when they first start out, it takes a little while to get comfortable in the aircraft. It's so overwhelming. Yeah. You saw in the beginning, it's so overwhelming, and I think that's kind of normal because just trying to understand what's happening here on the gauges, and you're looking outside, and then oh my God, there's birds,
and then you have all of these three things that do, it's like
it's an art.
We're so bent on having survival kits and making sure that we're in contact with people and we have the right clothing when we're flying, and we have satellite stuff and we're doing emergency training, but like the last step is me learning how to fly straight and level and how to put it on the ground. And so while I'm not going to be getting my pilot's license, I will be attempting to move past my fears in order to be able to learn how to fly straight and level and put it on the ground in case of emergency.
I had fun, and I was also shitbaked, so I think it was a good experience.
I thought you did good.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
It was a pleasure to get to do that flight with you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure for me too.
Currently, it feels like somebody cut my scalp, opened it up, put an inverted blender in there, blended my brain, took it out, and put that on and just taped it.
I remember when I was in flight school and I finished 1 hour at the beginning, but as I got more into it, 2 hours of dual in one day, dual instruction, and I just remember feeling so fatigued and exhausted. It is exhausting because you're constantly switching your attention between, you know, one thing to the other thing, this gauge, that gauge, outside, looking around, scanning for traffic, making sure maintaining altitude. Oh, my altitude's off. Okay. Oh, now my airspeed's changed. Oh, wait. Okay, bird over here. No, it's just all a lot to think about simultaneously while manipulating, you know, the cyclic collective and anti-torque pedal. So like you've got 3 different controls. It's very mind-numbing in the multitasking. You're on the depths of despair of the Dunning-Kruger curve, where you have enough knowledge to know what you don't know.
I am in the depths of despair on the Dunning-Kruger. Yes.
Well, I thought you did excellent today.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
Are you?
Yes, my
I
sweet.
can tell. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe you're doing it. Oh my god, I'm so proud. You're so excited in the back, and that was nice. I couldn't really fully get to experience your excitement because I was like, we're gonna die. That was my experience of doing my very first intro flight. It was very overwhelming, but I do want to say a massive shout out to Bob for not only going above and beyond and taking me on my first intro flight, but also for his patience with me as I swore and cussed and freaked out and panicked. If you're curious about what's going on with our helicopter, we made an update video up here about the overhaul. Some of you didn't really realize that the helicopter is going to be completely stripped back basically to its studs. Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. We have a whole entire playlist where we flew the helicopter from Buffalo, New York to Torrance, California for Overhaul. It's a 6-episode series, so you can check that out as well. I'll leave it up here.
Everybody say how proud you are in the comments of Becky for taking the controls for as long as she did.
Coming from where I came from, like, to be able to fly like that, and I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yes. Puckering butthole and all.
Puckering butthole and all. Goodbye. And thanks, Chris, for your patience and for continuing to love me, even though I said puckering asshole probably 5 times in this video.